Today we're going to check out Arlington, Virginia's smallest property for sale on the market. It's only about 600 square feet, one level, one bedroom. So let's go check it out. And I'm also going to give you some tips to know when buying something like this. So when you're buying a property that is, let's just say, a little unusual, a little bit different, there's not a ton of comparable sales to this one, being it's a one bedroom, one bath house. You need to look at the history of this property. Have they tried to sell it previously? This one's currently listed at 700. It was originally listed at 600, then they increased it. It's been on the market a while. And there's been a lot of different things going on with it. So you want to try to get that background info. Like, why did they increase it 100K if it didn't sell at 100K? Or if it didn't sell at 600K, why did they increase it? And I think for this one, I might know the answer is because the missing middle passed in Arlington, which basically allows people, depending on your lot size and various other things, to build multifamily in single family zoning. So that could have been one reason why. Prices have also gone up. That's another reason why. But seeing a good history of the property, which you can look up on Redfin, you can ask your real estate agent, that will give you a better sense of the value and kind of like what's going on with the property. So this neighborhood has a lot of new construction houses all around it, basically 1.5, even close to $2 million houses. However, with this particular house, it's actually on a busy road. So when you're looking at comparable sales for something like this, you need to look at comps that have sold on this busy road. This is a nice flat lot, so sometimes with these new construction properties, you don't get this type of lot. And it's nice that they have the barrier there, so it's not like it's a freaking highway. But you want to look at properties that have sold on North George Mason. A property that sells 2 or 3 blocks away from George Mason is probably going to sell for a bit more. There's going to be less buyers on this road because it's busier. Should be obvious, but not everyone takes that into account. And one interesting thing I've seen some people do is because this is the main entrance right here. It's not like you're coming in from George Mason. I don't know the cost of this. I've just heard of people doing this. They actually changed the street address. So you would obviously have to go through the county, but if you could change the street address so that it's whatever this street name is, that could potentially, I've heard of that adding value before, even though you're still on George, you're not changing the house location, but that can actually help. Let's just walk inside, and it has a musty kind of smell. The ceiling height is not too, I'm like 6'2" maybe. I don't have too much room in here. But the next thing to know is would a bank actually loan on this property? So this property, I think you'd have to do cash or hard money. Banks want to see a property that's livable, maybe a FHA 2 or 3K, something like that. But if you look around, the bank doesn't want to lend on something that's basically like a piece of junk. And this property, although it's in a great location and has a ton of potential, somebody would probably have to clean this up a little bit for a bank to be willing to lend on it. And that's something your lender, you can show pictures to your lender and say, hey, would you guys do a loan on this property? And a lot of lenders nowadays actually have renovation loans and things like that. With something like this, you want to keep in mind, the cost. You don't want to sink 100K into it if someone's just going to tear it down in a few years and rebuild. Because this house it's basically functionally obsolete, just about. So I think it's kind of cool, everyone's into the tiny houses, but to maximize the value, you would really have to knock it down and start over. Another thing to keep in mind when you're looking at comps, comparable sales, I need to stop speaking in technical realtor speak, is, so let's say you pull up the lots, right? You pull up the last 3 or 4 or 5 lots that sold. Well, every lot is going to be different. There's going to be some lots that are not flat. This one's good because it's a flat lot, but you have a cell phone tower right there and a busy road right there. So that obviously brings down the value. And obviously the size of the lot. This is a smaller lot. For this neighborhood, it's about average. It's about 1/10 of an acre. But other lots might have sold, at 0.2 acres at this price. And then, so you need to really compare apples to apples. If all the other lots are selling at 700K, which is what this one's listed for, but they're much bigger lots, then you gotta bring the value down a little bit. I've seen some lots where you can't even build on the lot. You have to have a certain amount of square footage, so you'd have to actually purchase the neighbor's house and then combine the 2 lots, and then it's some whole process. So you really need to check out the land and how many acres you're getting, and confirming that you're actually able to build, for one. So real quick, 10 seconds, if you're looking to buy or sell in Arlington, Virginia, or the DMV area, if you have any questions, shoot me a text or give me a call at this number below. I'd love to assist you. Okay, the next thing to keep in mind is what is the highest and best use of this property. Arlington, Virginia passed something called the missing middle, which allows you, depending on the size of your lot, you can actually build multifamily properties, which is a pretty controversial. People in Arlington, not surprisingly, are not too happy about that, or the people that own houses there, because they don't want people just building apartment buildings in their houses or in their neighborhood. But maybe this would be a project, like maybe you purchase it and then eventually turn this into like a 4-unit apartment building. Now they do have different lot size requirements, so I think the maximum you could build would be 6 units, but then I believe you need at least 7,500 square feet, and confirm this with the county, of course. But there might be potential to really, get a great deal out of something like this if you can see potential. A lot of people don't understand the zoning laws or how to maximize the zoning laws. So if you get pretty savvy with zoning, you can see opportunity where others might not be able to see that opportunity. Another way to look at comps for this type of property, because you really want to do your research when you're buying something like this, is look at the new construction properties. The new construction in this neighborhood, and the listing it says up to $2 million, but that's kind of like further into the neighborhood. I would probably say it's closer to like 1.6, 1.7 for like a brand new construction property. And this is on a busier road, so you just have to be conservative. But look at what they sold for. Look at the new construction, let's say 1.7, and then look in the tax records to see what they purchased it for. And that will give you a good idea of what you should purchase something like this for. Because this would be a really cool if like HGTV or someone came in here and just fixed it up as like a 1-bedroom house. It could be pretty sweet. But in terms of like value and future values and stuff like that, look at what the builders are paying for properties, and that'll give you an idea of where roughly where your number should be. This is the type of property where if you're gonna buy it to do something like build multifamily units, new construction, or something like that where it's not the existing use, this is something where you'd use a contingency period, try to get as much as possible, maybe like 3-week study period where you can basically back out for any reason. And during that time frame, you'd want to check with the county, double check, triple check, do all your research, make sure you're allowed to basically do the project that you want to be able to do, because there's just more moving pieces when you're doing like bigger development deals and things like that. And it's totally normal to do study periods for, if you're going to add different levels or add different, knock it down and build something new that wasn't there before. If your plan is just to build a single family house, a lot of times most builders are going to be, you can just check the tax records, look at a survey, and you can probably within 15 minutes decide if you're able to build or not. So it's really more if you're doing like more in-depth types of things. I mean, you should always just double check just to be on the safe side, but something to keep in mind. All right, we're going back outside because it's a little musty in here. But now outside there's all these mosquitoes, so it's like pick my poison. The next thing you want to keep in mind is flood zones. So there's flood zones all over the place. I have a property right now that's in a flood zone, and I've actually never had any flood issues. There's no history of flooding. I pay $80 a month. Check out Neptune Flood Insurance. I haven't had any issues with them, but so far they've been pretty good. But do your research. It's FEMA's website. You can check if the property's in a flood zone. I was just looking at a piece of land, and it was like mostly not in a flood zone, but then there was some plains near the water where it pretty clearly looked like it was in a flood zone. Now the listing agent said it wasn't in a flood zone, and actually we looked at it and it wasn't, but I was just like, I found that kind of hard to believe. So you got to really keep in mind like where you're gonna, if you're doing like a new construction property or rebuild, keep that in mind. Next up, sometimes when people are buying smaller houses like this, they might rent them out for a little bit, like Airbnb or different things like that, and then eventually after 2 or 3 years build. So check out the Airbnb laws, get a good estimate of what you can make as a rental, and then you can factor that into your offer, saying, well, we can make $30K per year with this, so we can maybe pay a little bit more for it. And then if you're gonna buy a tiny house or any type of property, make sure you evaluate 10 or 15 or 20 different deals. Get more reference experiences. More reference experiences, the better prepared you are to make an offer, the better you know if it's gonna be a good deal or bad deal. And it's gonna make you a savvier purchaser. So thanks for watching, and definitely check out some other videos. And if you're looking to buy or sell in Arlington, shoot me a text or give me a call. Would love to help you out. Bye.